My name is Emma Fletcher and I am the Managing Director of SmithsonHill. SmithsonHill is a joint venture between Russell Smith Farms and Hill Commercial Investments. Russell Smith Farms have been farming in the local area for nearly 80 years. They grow a multitude of crops, including organics. They supply food to Waitrose, to Sainsbury's, and they're also heavily involved in environmentally farming practices and the future of farming. Hill Commercial Investments also believe in the legacy that Russell Smith Farms want to leave and are based locally, and together they form SmithsonHill. The proposal we're here to talk to you about today is 1.2 million square feet gross of commercial space, or 1 million square feet of lettable area. It's for a new park for AgriTech, and there is no residential in our proposals. So what is our vision? We're actually wishing to bring a new park for AgriTech to the area. It will be of national and global significance. There are many, many issues facing agriculture now and in the future. The global population is due to grow by 36% by 2050, and that means we're going to have to increase food production from today to 60 to 100% of what is being grown at the moment. There was a 2013 government strategy which highlighted AgriTech as a new sector, and this has been embraced by the university, who now have set up a new global food security team and project team to take forward, and there's many different new areas of research coming through, not just Cambridge, but other research organisations in the region. AgriTech and agriculture are hand in hand. These new technologies are going to change the way we farm, not just in the UK, but globally. 70% of all fresh water is used in agricultural production, and it impacts by 25% on the production of global greenhouse gases. Basically, we need to get more efficient in production and also the supply chains, with the key focus on using new technologies to make this happen. This is a new cluster, a new way of thinking, and it's supported by the government's industrial strategies and regionally through the LEP. So in terms of engagement in the project, this project came about from initial discussions with NIAB over their farm trials in the area. A number of companies now have relocated their farm trials to this part of the region. And we spoke to others, and the need was clear that actually bringing something together into this hub, bringing people together, was the way forward where it hadn't been done before. Initial engagement happened in 2015 with a number of the local parishes, but in summer 2016 we had a very early public exhibition here in this hall. It is an AgriTech-based proposal, and as I said earlier, no residential is proposed. We've worked and responded to a number of the parish councils who are here tonight, and also taken transport workshops and been liaising with the other parks in the area. So what is our site? It forms two areas. The larger area to the east of the A1301 and to the south of the A505. It's outside the Greenbelt and considered countryside, and the second site is inside the Greenbelt, adjacent to Whittlesford Station. We've been working closely with the people who own Hinxton Grange and with their agents, and it is included as part of these proposals. But from an early stage, the key issue was traffic, and therefore this map is the output of the transport work that we were doing with a number of you also sat here this evening. It identifies the key junctions, the rat runs, and actually all the main issues in the area, together with the rail and the road networks. In 2015, we met with Hinxton, Whittlesford, Ickleton, Duxford parish councils and representatives from the district and county councils. We've also been talking to the other parks about the transport issues they have in the area. We've made representations to the City Deal, to the LEP, and also the National Infrastructure Commission about highlighting the issues affecting this area. In 2016, in April, we undertook a series of workshops in preparation for the emerging proposals for the A1307 that were coming out of the City Deal. We're members of the Cambridge Ahead Transport Group, and also we are members of the newly formed Rail User Group at Whittlesford and Shelford Station. The City Deal has identified this area now as needing closer attention, and more recently has identified the need for some form of transport hub at Whittlesford Station. We've also been working closely with the county and Highways England over their junctions and the roads. When we came to you last year, one of the discussions we had was about crossing the A505, safe routes to school, safe routes to the station. We put forward an option of possibly an overpass or an underpass for cycling and pedestrian use, and the county have come back and said they favour a bridge over the A505, but this needs further work and discussion. So what have we been doing since we were last here? Well, we've been undertaking extensive investigations. For the last 18 months, we've been undertaking ecology reviews on the site, both flora and fauna at different times of the day and different seasons. We've also been looking at the underlying geology. As many of you know, there is a water aquifer on the site, and Cambridge Water extract water from the ground under the site. And we have been working with Cambridge Water closely. We've also taken an extensive geophysical survey of the entire site, looking to see what's under the ground from an archaeological perspective. One of the things that's come out of that is we will soon be doing trial trenches across the site to actually look and see what those imaging has drawn up and what actually is there under the ground. If anybody wants to get further involved in the archaeology, again, please let me know, because there could be opportunities to have a look on the site. We've also looked at soil quality. We've taken boreholes every few metres across the whole site to look at actually what's there on the ground. And one of the key issues is drainage and the impact of flooding in the village. And we've been working closely with the Environment Agency over what we can do to mitigate the impact of our site. Another key thing is utilities and services to the site. We have a major gas main that runs through the site, and also electricity. Electricity was identified in 2013 by South Cambs as being highly critical in terms of the supply to the area. In 2015, it was also identified as being very critical to the area. And this is something that we've identified, and we're now working with others to really address the problem of electricity. There's a group made up from all the people from Marshalls through Adam Brooks and down to this cluster, talking to UK Power Networks about how to improve the supply, maintain the supply, and actually reinforce it as well. It's a serious issue that needs to be addressed. We've also been looking at the heritage of the Grange and its existing landscaping, and all of this work is working on the basis of the future environmental assessment work. We've met with South Cambs District Council about this project and their plans for future growth in the area. And as mentioned before, we've been working with the other parks and businesses on their plans and the major issues affecting the area. So in summer 2016, we came forward with a very initial proposal just to outline our thoughts on what is AgriTech and what it could look around the site. It was a very indicative concept with blobs on a plan, but it did show significant landscape buffers, green areas and crop trials, increasing connectivity with shared transport and cycling and walking ways, and also a number of other key features, such as access to Whittlesford Station. So we've built on this idea and taken our thoughts further forward. So this is a very initial and emerging concept drawing. I quote, it's really very early on, but we wanted to show what it could look like in terms of a footprint on the site. One of the things we've taken forward is the landscaping and the screening, taking into account the existing trees, the hedgerows, and the actual nature of the site. We want to maximise the access to the crop trials with a significant landscape buffer of approximately half a kilometre from the village. We also want to maintain a distance from the Grange to respect its setting, but with open access for all, for residents, for farmers, for people coming onto the site. But we're also very conscious about the movement in and out of the site, and we need to look at that more closely. One of the key issues is how we come in and also how we get to Whittlesford Station by cycle and on foot. A number of key issues that have also come up is obviously the aquifer, which is up in this corner, so we've avoided that area. That is the key area for the water extraction. We also have got a 3-kilometre and a 5-kilometre running route around the site, and areas where we can hold water retention. One of the main issues that came out of discussion was Titchport Lane and the runoff into the village. So we believe we can mitigate that by holding the water on our site. Similar up on the McDonald's roundabout, surface water is also an issue when it rains, and it's how we take that water off the roundabout as quickly as possible. And as mentioned previously, a potential for a transport hub interchange, that needs further discussion as how that could work, but we're putting out there as part of our initial thoughts for the site. So the buildings, what might the buildings be? Our thoughts of the buildings are they're primarily two-storey, with incubator units, grow-on space, workshops, labs, offices, and possibly a small element of glasshouse. A rural campus in feel, we want to take a fabric-first approach, provide one-for-one cycle spaces to those coming onto the site, and also landscaping it into the contours of the existing land. We also want to consider electric vehicles and want to prepare for that growth in that market. We've also done a lot of research into what facilities may be on site. We had a lot of feedback from last summer, and we've also been talking with those in businesses in this area and also with younger startups coming from the university. And that feedback has been invaluable. What's really come forward is where people want to be in work is taking on board the element of mindfulness, having a work-life balance, natural environments, and access for all. Other built things include a nursery, a gym, and a cafe, but really it's all about the natural landscape, the quality of being on site, and the 5K and the 3K walking, cycling, and horse riding routes around the area. One thing I didn't mention earlier is a swimming lake. We have to have water attenuation on site, so it was proposed that an outdoor swimming lake would be preferable on the site if possible, and we believe that can be accommodated. So for those of you who are into triathlons, you can run, cycle, and swim on site. But a key driver is the crop trials that are already occurring in this area. This is a new area and a hub for AgriTech. We want to enable engagement between the companies for them to trial out their things on site and also develop a leading place for innovation. In terms of the type of people who may come to the site, it's app developers for crop development, big data, sensors, precision agriculture, and a small element possibly of glass houses in order to control the environment. We also want to work with a number of the adjoining farmers. We think we can work with as many people as willing to come on board. We want long leases to offer up long-term rotations and also for farmers to talk to farmers and adopt these new technologies in order to get them out into the workplace and actually in the field. But this is not going to happen overnight. This is a long-term proposal. This is a long-term plan. And like the other parks and developments, it could take 10 to 15 years to come forward. Even if we were to get planning in the next couple of years, it could take at least to the early to mid-2020s until we actually start on site. There are a number of issues that need to be resolved before we can get there. So the first occupations are unlikely to happen until mid-2020s in terms of then fully building out into 2030s. And our transport assessment has been based on 4,000 people working on site. That's a calculation based on the area proposed using an office calculation. We know that we will not have that many people on site. AgriTech is not an office development. There are many other elements which don't have such high density of occupation. But we're taking this seriously. We're proposing to use the maximum number of people in the area that could be possibly worked out calculation-wise, and we're using 4,000 in our assessment. So what are the next steps? The next steps is to carry on our environmental studies and work on actually improving and developing the master plan. We have a lot of baseline work still to do, and we will be undertaking the trenching, as we said, in the next couple of months. We're also preparing an environmental scoping, which we'll be submitting to South Cambs District Council in the next couple of weeks, which will highlight the key issues and the methodologies we're using to assess the site. Whilst it's submitted to South Cambs District Council, we will also be providing it at the same time to all the adjoining parish councils, so there's complete clarity and you can see what we are proposing. The things that this will be covering are air quality, commercial and social impact, economic impact, heritage, ground conditions, land use, landscape and visual impact, the natural heritage, noise, transport, waste, water, and flood and drainage. Secondly, we wish to have continued liaison with everybody locally, the parish councils and the residents, but also other groups such as the West Anglia Task Force and the rail user groups. They're the other parks to take into consideration and their plans, and also South Cambs, the County Council and other statutory consultees. And thirdly, we wish to come back and give you a better and a more thorough exhibition once we've worked up our plans and thoughts for the master plan. We hope that will be in late spring, early summer, but it's constantly under review. In terms of a planning application, again, that's constantly under review, but possibly by the end of the year. So thank you for your time. We welcome your comments, and we will give regular updates on the website. Our website address is here, smithsonhill.co.uk, and please feel free to get in touch at any time. Thank you.